as Deputy Librarian at Punjab University, Chandigarh. He has been awarded the prestigious Commonwealth Fellowship in 2017 and 2012 at University of East London, UK. He published more than 40 research papers in national and international peer-reviewed journals and one authored book. He prepared and presented one module on reference management softwares in the online MOOC courses, which is available through SWAM, a MHRD portal. He teaches PGDLAN, BLIS course, and resource person in various national workshop, conference, training program, etc. I request Dr. Neeraj Singh to please finish your presentation in 15 minutes. Dr. Neeraj Singh, please.
Dr. Neeraj, hello.
Audible? Yeah.
Yes, Neeraj, please go ahead. Yes.
Jain, chair of today's discussion. Dr. Pravat Pandey, President MPLA, esteemed panelists, and my dear library science professionals. A very good evening to all of you. Today I have given the speak on research data management. So talking about my today's topic, so this is the outline of my today's presentation. So in my 15 to 20-minute presentations, these are the topics which I am going to cover. I will discuss about what is research data, what are the different types of research data, why there is a need to manage research data, and what is basically a research data management. There are various ways in which we can manage the data. So I will discuss in brief the two ways through which we can manage the research data. Now, as far as implementing RDM at institutional level is concerned, there are various phases. Any institutions, they can, implement the research data management at their institutional level. So I will also discuss about the various phases through which you can manage the research data at institutional level. And I will also give you some of the highlights of present status of data repositories in India. Now, before understanding the research data management, to understand what is basically a research data. Now, the research data is a data which we generally compiled or produce during our research process. Many definitions, and there are many organizations which have defined research data management in their own way. Now, talking about the definition which I have taken from University of Leicester, research data can be defined as the recorded factual material commonly accepted in the scientific community as necessary to validate research finding. There is another definition from University of Sheffield says the data needed to validate the results presented in scientific publications or the evidence used to inform or support research conclusions. So from these two, it is very much clear that research data is a need of hour for the scientific community, which is basically used by the publishers or the editor in terms of validating the research presented in scientific publications. Now, in support of these two publications, let me give you one example that will make you a clear understanding about how this research data is very much important as far as publication of your scientific manuscript is concerned. Now, as we all know, PLOS ONE is a very reputed open access journals in the field of medical science. So whenever you submit your research paper for publication in this journal, there is a mandatory condition that you have to submit research data along with your publication. So why the publishers, they are asking for research data so that they can validate the finding of your result which you have presented in scientific publications. So now this research data is becoming a very much important scientific community is concerned. Now talk about different metadata, different types of research data. Second, I think. Okay. Now, we're talking about the classification of research data. But before explaining you the different type of research data, let me give you one example that will make you clear about the understanding of different types of research data. Now, during our PhD process, whatever data we compile or whatever data we produce is also considered as a research data. Now, let's take example of research data. When we enter all the recorded information we have collected through questionnaire from our respondent, and when we enter such data in an Excel file, so that Excel file is also example of your research data, and from that Excel file we analyze report a result using some statistical software. So that Excel sheet where you have just entered the data which you have collected through questionnaire, that Excel file is also example of research data. Let's take another example, questionnaire. Now, again, designing a questionnaire is a very scientific process, and the scope of your research totally relies on the data which you have collected. So generally, we frame questionnaire keeping in view the objectives and the hypothesis of our study. So this questionnaire is again a very scientific data, which is again example of research data. So whatever data you have using statistical software, that is also come under research data. Even all the tables, graph, figures which you have presented in your thesis is also a type of research data. So this is about the quantitative research work. But when we do qualitative research work, all your interview script, whatever interview you have recorded during the course of data, is also example of research data. So now talking about the broad category of research, generally there are four types of research data: observational, experimental, simulation, and compiled data. Now, observational data generally we capture you in real time basis, and this data generally captured during the observation. So this is a very unique data, and example of observational data are remote sensing data, survey data, field recording, sampling data. Now, experimental data is such data which we captured using some instrument in a laboratory. So such type of data is data. We use scientific instrument and we use substances and chemical compound in terms of collecting the data. Some of the example of experimental data are gene sequences, chromatograms, magnetic field data. Now, talking about the models or simulation data, these data are generated using the test model. And in this case, the models and the metadata, they are much more important than the final output data. And to give you some of the example of simulations data, these are climate models, economic models. These are the example of simulation data. Now talking about the compiled data is such data which we generally process while compiling our raw data. Like for example, text and compiled databases, 3D models, they all comes under derived or compiled data. Now from this slide, you can see these are the various data, and it can include laboratory notebooks, field notebooks, diaries, your questionnaire, your transcript, your audio tapes, your video tapes, photographs. So whatever data you have generated, you have collected while conducting your research is basically called as research data. Now, the question is why there is a need to manage research data. As I mentioned earlier, the research data are valuable that often requires a great deal of time and money to create. And as data principle. The FAIR is an acronym which means findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. So this is the principle which is being developed and endorsed researchers, publishers, funding agencies, and industry partners all over the world. And this principle came into existence in 2016. And according to the FAIR data principle, it says every data should be findable. That means we have to assign a detailed metadata with each and every metadata so that anyone can find the. And this principle also emphasizes that every research data must be provided a permanent URL. So whatever research data, when you upload in data repository or your institutional data repository, it is mandatory to provide a DOI, which is a persistent link of that particular data. Now, the data should be accessible. Now, there is always a probability that anyone or even machine can access the research data. So in this case, it is mandatory that you should provide access to data depending upon the nature of your research data. For example, if the research data is sensitive, in this case, you can restrict the access of data. But if the research data is generated through public funded, or if the research data is, of a common man use, then you can provide certain rights so that anyone can use and access this data. Another FAIR data principle is interoperable. So it says whatever search data format you are using, whatever metadata format you are using, it should be a standard and protocols compliance so that any system can interoperable. This data is interoperable amongst any system and reusable. According to FAIR data principle, it says this all the data which is made available to access to the public that should be available under Creative Commons license. So when you assign the Creative Commons license, in this way, you basically informing other user type of rights you have given as far as reusing of your research data is concerned. Now, there are various other regions through which we can understand why there is a need to manage the research data. Now, talking about the facilitate data security and minimize the risk of data loss. Now, let me give you one example. When we submit our project report or when we submit our PhD thesis, so once the PhD thesis is submitted and you have published number of papers thesis, our focus related to security of this data is very minimum. So what is you are generally taking the backup of data either in your pen drive or in your email, and after a certain period of time, even you are not even yourself not possible or sometime it's not feasible for you to retrieve the raw data which you have collected with great effort, time and money. So there is a need to permanently secure this data, and for permanently securing this data so that it is available permanent the use of public, we need to manage our research data. Now, again, there is the ensure research integrity and validation of result. As I mentioned earlier, whatever scientific publications you are submitting, now topmost publishers, they are requiring the raw data along with your paper. So in this way, they are basically validating the findings and results of your paper. So now most of the funding organization, most of the institutions, they have made it mandatory where there is a need to submit the raw data or research data along with your manuscript. So this is another reason why we need managed research data, ensure wide dissemination and increase impact. Now there is a various studies has been conducted which shows that whatever content or whatever data you are making available for public, it will always give you the impact of your research. For example, if anyone is citing your research data while writing his or her manuscript, and if he or she is giving data citation to you, that means you are making impact of your research data in the academic community. Enable research continuity through secondary data sources. If you are managing your research data in a great manner, in this case, what you can do, you can generally avoid the duplicacy of research which is taking place in the scientific community, and you can always minimize the duplication of effort by other research scholar if he or she is doing the research in the same area which you have already done. And preservation of research data. There are some research data which are very unique and which you can't reproduce. But once this data is, there is no scope from, there are no other scope from where you can retrieve this data. So we also need a data preservation policy so that we can secure and we can preserve such type of data. Now the question is, what is basically a management? So in this slide, you can easily see that this is a basic a life cycle of any research data. And what is research data management? Basically, research data management, which is also sometimes known as research data curation, involves collecting, organizing data, which is a part of research outcome in such a manner so that it facilitates easy access and reuse. So from this research data life cycle, you can easily see that whenever you for research data management, the first thing which you require is proper policy and guidelines so that you can preserve your data. So once this policy and guidelines has been finalized and approved by the competent authority, the next step is to create awareness amongst the research scholars so that they can contribute their research data into a research data repository. Let me share again. I think someone has. Hello. Yeah.
Yes, Neeraj, go ahead. Yeah, there was something. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So the next step is to take the consent or take the permission from the researcher so that you can upload their research data, because the research data copyright always belong to the researcher. So it's always advisable consent so that it don't create any problem as far as copyright is concerned. So once this data is available in your platform, so you have to provide a storage system to your research scholars so that they can also preserve the research data using while they are doing their research work. So once you have collected the data, once you have assigned the metadata, and once you have uploaded the research data into the platform, the next step is to providing access right. So if you are providing Creative Commons license to each and every research data, so that will help other research scholars to know what accessibility rights you have given to the other researcher as far as its reusability is concerned. So once you will make this data accessible, then there is always chances that some research scholars from other part of the world, they can find your research data, they can cite your research data. And again, so this is the complete research data life cycle, which is considered as a research data management. Now, what are the various ways through which we can manage the data? Now, there are two ways through which you can manage the research data. You can directly go to the data repository and upload your research data if your institution is not having any institutional data repository policy or platform. Now, talking about the data repository is basically a platform which helps research scholars in terms of uploading their research data so that their research data should be discoverable, reproducible, and reusable. So this DRR is a basic concept behind data repository. Now, talking about the data repository, there are many data repositories which are available worldwide. Some of the data repositories, they are common in nature, so they act disciplines. But there are some other research data repositories which are very subject specific. So being a research scholar, if you wanted to upload your research data, if you want that your research data is discoverable so that other person can reuse it, so you have to be very particular in terms of selecting the data repository. So depending upon the type of research you are doing, depending upon the type of research data, you can select the research data repository for managing your research data. Now, these are the common data repository like Figshare, Dryad, Dataverse, Open Science, and Zonendo. These are the common data repository which researchers all over the world they are using for managing their research data. Now, one of the most common platform for managing the research data is Figshare, and the basic concept repository is to store, share, discover the research data. And you can see from this slide that 26 million page views has received by this data repository. And there are 7.5 million downloads to till date, and 8 lakh users have uploaded their research data, and there are more than 5 lakh collections of research data are available. And there are more than 5,000 projects you can search through this Figshare repository. Now, let me give you one example. This is the one example of research data. From here, you can see one of the research scholar from some university uploaded the research data in this Figshare. So whenever you are uploading the research data, you have to give complete bibliographical details of your research data. And very important thing is you have to describe the methodology which you have adopted while collecting your research data. Because if the methodology is not clear, that will not give any authenticity or reliability of your research data. So it is always advisable that whenever you are uploading your research data, make the methodology clearly and explain the methodology so that the researcher are in a position to see which research methodology you have adopted. Now, when you see here, if you wanted to cite this data, this is the complete citation information. And you can see the one of the biggest advantage of this Figshare is whenever you upload the data, it automatically assigns the DOI to your research data so that your research data is permanently available in this data repository. Now, let me give you one of the example of citing data in research paper. Now, this is one of the articles in Elsevier journal. So this is the title and these are the authors. So when you go to the reference page, the first reference is not a citation from any publication. The first citation is about the research data citation. And when you click on the DOI of this data citation, it will take you to the UK data repository. So when you click the DOI, it will take you to this page, and here you can see this is the title of the research data. This is the publisher, the last uploaded date, methodology of this data, and all the related topics and the complete bibliographical information related to this research data you can see from here. And there is a one option you can see here that you can also download the data. When you download the data here, you can see this is the raw data which I have explained in my first slide to the Excel data when we enter the responses which we have received while distributing our questionnaire. So the same data, same raw data, other publisher has reused it and they have interpreted their data according to their objective and hypothesis of this study. So here I just wanted to show you that how the trend of data citation are increasing, and even Elsevier, they are in the process of making a provision where you can not only search the citation of your research paper, but at the same time you can also search how many research scholars have cited the data which you have uploaded in a data repository or in your institutional data repository. Now talking about the implementing RDM at the university level. Now let me tell you, there is a big discussion going on that libraries should take initiative in India so that this research data management will be feasible and will be implemented at a larger scale. But let me tell you, the success of any research data management is not totally dependent upon the libraries because there are so many stakeholders are involved in this process. Library is one of the component. The next component is your ICT or your computer center, Dean Research Office, the researcher himself, every department, and you have to involve management people also, because this is again a very tedious and time consuming process if you wanted to implement RDM at your university. Now, if you plan to implement research data management in university, you can this implementation process in a 4 phase. The first phase is about the formulating the policy and guide related to research data management, and it includes create the essential documentation and infrastructure for the full-scale rollout of RDM. So before implementing the RDM, you have to conduct so many feasibility study as far as infrastructure feasibility is concerned, as far as technical manpower feasibility is concerned. And let me tell you one thing, the success of any research data management is totally dependent upon the policy. Now, talking about the phase 1, where the institutions, they have to create the data policy or data submission policy there is a one tool which is developed by Digital Curation Center at UK, and this is called as Data Management Plan, DMP. So what is this? DMP is a formal statement describing how research data will be managed and documented throughout a research project and for long-term management and preservation. And some funders specify a particular template for that. Now, suppose if your university is getting funds international funding agency and you wanted to incorporate their minimum requirement if you are planning to develop for policy for research data management. So this online tool will facilitate to you that all the conditions, all the policies of worldwide funding agencies are already listed here. So what you have to do is you just select the funding requirement of the different funding agencies. You just select these requirement and you put your scholar you are having, how many PhD you are producing, and based on your requirement and based on your funder requirement, this tool will help you in terms of creating the data management policy and guidelines at your institutional level. Now, once the policy has been finalized, the next is creating awareness among the research scholar. Now, the next step is you have to encourage your research scholar, you have to train your research scholar how they can upload their research data in institutional data repository. Now, once this data is uploaded into the institutional digital repository, then the next step is we have to provide permanent storage of this data, and at the same time we have to provide some storage facility for ongoing research and scholar, which research is still in the process, so that instead of preserving their research data in their PC, they can directly upload their research data into this data repository. And then the important aspect is your data selection. If you are dumping all type of data in your research repository, then it will, lose the interest among the research scholars. So you have to very specific in selecting the data. You have to see which data will give a high impact in scientific community. What is the unique data? What is the rare data which you are having? So that once you will, work on the selection of research data, then you can upload this data into your institutional repository. And after uploading this data, if you are giving rights under Creative Commons license, in this way you will again, make this data available for reuse. About how any institution they can implement RDM at university. Now, talking about the present status of data repository in India. Now, there is one website, it's called re3.data.org. This is similar like DOAR. DOR is a registry which index all the institutional repositories that has been developed by across the world. So this R3.data.org, what they are doing, they are registering all the data repository of which have been created by institutions or publisher or funder throughout the world, so that the user can access the data using the single platform. Now, when you see the statistics of this data as far as data repository is concerned, USA and UK, they are leading from the front as far as data repository is concerned. But having 50 data repositories, and this is the data which they have uploaded on 21st October 2019. So here you can see that India, as far as India is concerned in terms of creating data repository, we are far behind from US and UK. One of the reasons which I feel is, even at institutional level, there is no policy where it has been made it mandatory by the authorities that researchers have to submit their data along with their publication into their data repository or institutional data repository. Even at the higher level also, like right now, there is no policy in UGC where it is mandatory for the research scholar. Some of the institutions, some of the funding agencies like ICSSR in social sciences, they have created the data repository. But again, it is voluntary, but means any research scholar, if he or she wants to upload, they can only vote, but it is not mandatory for all the research scholars.
Dr. Neeraj.
Presentation. Yes, I am just about to conclude my presentation.
Okay.
To conclude my presentation, I will will let you know that the Indian government has taken a lead by notifying a data sharing and
जी जल्दी करो.
in 2012, which makes it mandatory for ministry and department to share data by them. So now most of the ministry and departments, they are uploading their data, like you can access all the census data, all the data which is compiled, which is uploaded on Ministry of IT website. So all the ministry and government
Very nice
institutions,
lecture.
they are doing. However, majority of these data repository are not following common standard as far as data description and visualization is concerned. Besides this, there is no system in higher education and research institutions. Data should be made compulsory for the research scholar to upload. Thus, a national level policy can accelerate data management practices in higher educational institutes to initiate proper data management, and through this we can, create more and more data repository in coming years.